A new Brown is in the fold. A new Brown who was an old Brown is Kareem Hunt has agreed to a one-year deal worth up to $4 million to help replace Nick Chubb. Sources tell Mary Kay Cabot that Hunt is down about 10 pounds from his playing weight a season ago. Looked mean and lean in his workout. Kevin Stefanski was asked why sign Kareem Hunt at this part of the season as opposed to earlier in the offseason.
Yeah, I just think you're always looking at the ways to improve your team, Tony, and based on your team at the moment. Obviously, Nick Chubb being unavailable factored into this decision. And Kareem knows that. And Kareem feels, as sick about Nick's injury as anybody. But, this is the situation that we're in, the circumstances. So I think Kareem's excited about the opportunity.
The familiarity that Kareem has, how much does that help given these circumstances?
Yeah, I think it's a big deal, Tom. I mean, as you know, when you add players that are free agents, oftentimes you have to ramp them up and get them ready to play. And we have done that. You can do that. In this case, there's obviously some newness that Kareem is learning, but he can pick up things very quickly. So that definitely factored into it.
With that, let's welcome in Jeff Lloyd from the Locked On Browns podcast. Jeff, just your thoughts. Kareem Hunt back, and it's a guy that had some other workouts and didn't get signed.
Initially, this wasn't necessarily the guy I was looking for. And look, you base it on what you've seen most recently. And, look, last year, Kareem Hunt looked a step slower. My biggest remembrance of thinking of Kareem Hunt last year was the second game against the Cincinnati Bengals. It was a 4th and 1. He was the only back in the backfield, and they actually had to turn around and wave him closer. So we lined it up like a traditional fullback, basically so they could make sure that he was going to have enough juice to get to the line and get the first down. He barely got it. And he just, hey, I mean, I think that now, but knowing, the weight, lost 10 pounds. But maybe this was, something that Kareem went through with the visits that he took this year and, with workouts, and maybe some people didn't see it. And so maybe Kareem needed to hear it himself. Look, his name isn't his name anymore. Obviously, Kareem Hunt, the name had a tremendous value in this league for a long, long time. It didn't or doesn't anymore. So he put himself out there, obviously got himself in a little bit better shape. The opportunity and I think it was great the way they talked about it as far as, Kareem watching it go down and, everybody you heard speak on it just about how devastated and they were crushed, because Nick is just that type of guy and he's that type of guy with everybody in the locker room. Maybe you don't necessarily get Nick back, but you kind of get a little piece of it because you get somebody who was so close with him coming in here. The fact that he knows the playbook, the fact that he can contribute in pass pro, and also he's always been a good receiver in this offense. But it was a big advantage that he can play on Sunday. It's a big advantage that the Browns play the Ravens the week after, and he knows that team and obviously knows that team very well from a Cleveland Browns perspective. So it's going to be an opportunity here. And, it's going to be a little different for Kareem. He's going to be a little bit more in a mentor role here. Ideally, the plan for the Browns would be that, Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong just play really, really well. But, there's nobody after them. So, 2 running backs was never going to get it done anyway. But you bring in a guy who's got experience within your system, obviously has, an affection for this franchise, has an affection for the state of Ohio. And you can hopefully be somebody that comes in, maybe not just replace Nick, because, we know Nick is irreplaceable, but maybe, makes everybody feel a little bit better that even though somebody went walking out of the locker room, that somebody that walked in, kind of knows the situation and is going through the same situation that everybody else in there is.